Okay, today we are tying the Caddis. This is for our monthly fly tying box, the beginner box for the month of August 2018. So this is a very good caddis fly imitation. We'll learn how to work with dubbing, and also we'll work with some hair, or actually you can use some deer hair, which can be a little bit of a challenge, but if you're just starting out, it's a good pattern to do that. This is a regular dry fly hook, and I have some 6/0 thread. We could use 8/0. I'm going to try this 6/0. It is a little bulkier, but it tends not to snap when I'm tying down deer hair, so we'll try that. So I just attached the thread there, and I'm wrapping over the top away from me, just making nice smooth wraps like that. And we're going to take our thread back to our tie-in point, which is directly above the barb of the hook there. There's the barb directly above, and that's a point we'll use a lot as a reference when we're tying in tails out the back. So this fly doesn't actually really have a tail, a caddis, but it has what we call a trailing shuck. This just kind of imitates the bug that's leaving behind its nymphal shuck. I don't know, it gets kind of scientific, but it seems to work, and it's been a good pattern, a proven pattern. So for that, we're going to use this is called Z-Lon. You can use a lot of different types of yarns, and I like to go a little bit on the sparser side, so I'm just going to take this. It kind of comes in a rope there, and I'm going to take about half of that and snip off a little small clump there, and that's all I need for the tail, really. So let's carefully hold that with our left hand and place it along the top of the hook there. Just make a nice wrap there. We'll tie that down going forward, tie down those little butts there, and let's bring our thread right back again to our tie-in point so that Z-Lon is sticking out the back there. Alright, we can trim this so it's about the same length as the hook shank, so about like that, and we have a nice little sparkle tail out there. Alright, now we need to dub the body. I have some super fine kind of tannish color. We'll do this. I'll send you colors for like olives, a couple different color variations that you can work with. So again, with dubbing, you don't want to get too much. So this clump here will tie a lot. So I'm just going to hold that clump and just maybe take the edge there and just pull off a few like wisps, I guess you could call them. And the trick to this is just get yourself a little bit more thread if you need to, and just lay it on top. You can see how that kind of lays on top. Now I'm going to carefully, I'm not going to go back and forth with my middle finger and my thumb. I'm going to go in one direction, kind of starting at my tip like that. And as I do that, that will spin around. Let me back up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm going to start, and I'm not holding on to the dubbing at the bottom, because as I start right there, see how it spins? It spins around the thread, and really all we're doing is just coating, and I'm pressing fairly hard. I'm just coating about 2 inches of the thread. Try to do it evenly. I don't want a big clump up there and a little clump. I want to control that so I can build a nice tapered body. Now let me zoom back in so you can see. And now we'll dub that body forward, so we'll start kind of thin here, almost just thread, and then we can wrap as we go and get a little bit thicker as we work our way up the hook shank. So I'm going to add a little more. And the tendency when you first start doing dubbing is putting too much. So it's better to just start with smaller amounts and add 2 or 3 times, as opposed to getting too much and then you're trying to take it off of your thread, which can be kind of frustrating. Again, we want a nice neat tapered body, so if we can apply that dubbing neatly, it'll make our fly look a lot better. And let's just add a little more, one more section there. And we're not going to go right to the eye of the hook. We are actually going to leave about an eye length back. We got our pretty good taper there if I need to go over some dead spots. So that's about what we want. I want to leave about an eye length back for our wing. Okay, now we're ready for the wing. For the wing on this fly, I'm going to use, I have some deer hair, some short fine deer hair. Elk hair works really good. I like this deer hair just for a little different look in my box there. So the question I always get is how much hair should I clip off there? So that's a difficult one to answer. The best thing I can say is I like to just take a row of that elk hair or that deer hair and basically get a half scissor full amount somewhere in there, and that usually is about the right amount for caddis flies. So let's clip that off. As you can see, there's a lot of under fur on this, so we're going to get rid of that. I have a little comb here that's handy, or you can use your hands and just take a second, hold the hair by the tips and clean out all that under fur. And then we need to stack those tips up. So we're going to even those tips. So you need a hair stacker. This is a tool you're going to want in fly tying here. So this is a brass one. This works really nice. What you do is you just drop the hair in there, tips down, facing down, just drop them in. And then while I'm holding this together here, I'm going to just tap that on my desk there. So that hair is pointing down, and then we'll just carefully turn that hair stacker, because that hair now is facing towards the back there, and I can just hold it by the front half and just slide the back half off. And those tips should be stacked up fairly evenly. I have a few strays there. Alright, so let's just, they're not perfect, I'm not going to lose total sleep there. Alright, so I'm holding that with my right hand. Now those tips, I want those tips to extend just past the point of the hook there. Once I have that measurement, I switch it to my left hand, and I've got all these butts. And this is the tricky part, tying in this hair. So I'm going to make one full turn and then add a little tension there, and you see those butts will flare a little bit. Let's repeat that. Another turn, add a little tension, and let's do about 4. And notice I don't let go with my left hand because that hair wants to spin on you, and that's frustrating. So as I let go, I still got to be careful here. And what we'll do is let's just carefully, got a few under there, pull those butts straight up and just make 1 or 2 turns underneath, and let's come back and grab that hair again and make 1 turn over the top again. That helps anchor that hair to the top. Let's bring our thread back underneath, and that is where we'll whip finish. And this is a little tricky because we are whip finishing up under that hair. So we've got our triangle. Remember, that's what's wrapping. If you need to, you can just lightly hold your thread in the bottom 2 fingers, and that exposes your top 2 fingers, frees them up, and then you can pull that hair back out of the way, and we can come up underneath and build a nice little head under there and a good tight whip finish like that. We'll add a good tug there. That actually broke off, but that's okay. Alright, so now we're going to trim those off. Come up under the eye of the hook there and give it a good trim. And we'll trim off these strays. And that's a durable little fly. I like that big fluffy wing sticking out there. So it sits up there nice and good, and you can see it good. That's been a very effective little dry fly.